Hey, welcome to the watch party for earnings that are going to be released after the market closes. We are starting with about 1 minute left in trading. And I'm joined by Daryl, who is a really good technical analyst and does a great job looking at the technicals of stocks. And I'll try to handle the fundamentals and valuations, and combined we'll cover the companies that are going to announce today. The first one out of the gate is going to be Amazon. We're expecting that's going to drop fairly soon after the market closes, and we will monitor their investor page and get our hands on their financials so we can see what they have to say about the quarter that just ended and they're reporting on. And I think 30 minutes from now, Apple's going to announce.
Right.
And that one is going to be really interesting because I think Apple has to regain their mojo, their momentum, or that stock's just going to continue to go down. So, Daryl, how you doing? How'd you make out today? And what are you expecting out of these companies?
I'm doing wonderful, and my portfolio was up very good this morning, but looks like it's closing in the red this afternoon. I don't know what happened around 1 o'clock or so that started sending the markets down. I suspect it was probably trade talks, but I haven't seen anything specific.
Yeah, it's, what I've noticed is the market it's not everyone's participating in the appreciation. Meta had a superb day.
Yep.
Microsoft had a great day. Amazon tagged along and they went down a lot. So it was a mixed market. The market's in the green and then it ended in the red.
Yep.
So that was interesting.
That's exactly what I saw.
Okay, so let's see if Amazon is going to release. I'm watching CNBC background. And hopefully my internet. Hey, Cream Biggins. Cream Biggins bought the FIG IPO. Congratulations, buddy. And you made some money today, I think. Congrats. So can't wait for Reddit reports. Yeah, me too. Me too. We'll look at that one after we get through Amazon and Apple. But Reddit went up nicely today. Sorry, Daryl, did you say something?
I was going to see Reddit reports at 6 minutes after the hour.
All right. Looks like Mike, the dividend investor guy. Yeah, healthcare, man. Jeez, healthcare is killing us, Mike.
Yeah, it's been painful, Mike. Although CNC I saw was up today, Centene. Let me double check and see how they closed. Yeah, they were up 1%.
And CBS came out of the gate real well, like up 5%, and they ended, I would say, close to even for the day. But they had a really good earnings. They grew nicely, expanded profit, cash flow was better than I expected. All things look good. But
Amazon reported.
All right, Amazon, what's going on?
I saw an alert from Yahoo Finance. Hasn't showed up on Seeking Alpha yet. Okay, there it is.
All right, Amazon. I'll go ahead and read it.
Okay.
So net sales increased 13%.
If you can zoom up a little bit, it'd be great.
Sure. Let's take a closer look. All right. So sales increased 13%. I think that's what they were trending, historically, and they did $167 billion, almost $168 billion of revenue. That puts them up there at, geez, 630 billion in annual revenue. All right. So North America sales increased 11%, international 16. The AWS segment increased 17.5. Well, Microsoft increased like, was it 32 or 37% yesterday? So that's not a great number. In my opinion, I expected them to grow a lot more because Microsoft, and maybe I'll check that when you're sharing your screen. I thought Microsoft had a greater percentage growth, and the Microsoft cloud business and the AWS cloud businesses, AWS is still bigger, but not that much bigger. So that's interesting to look at. All right, so that number expanded by 17%. Operating income increased 19.2, looks good. Net income increased to 18.2 billion. Free cash flow decreased, I'm sure, because of CapEx. So they had a negative free cash flow compared to 53 billion. Okay, well, take a look at that. Hopefully they give us the financials. All right. And the Prime Day, they're talking about their Prime Day. I thought their Prime Day kind of wasn't totally successful this year. That's what I was hearing when it was coming out. All right, so just a lot of details here. I'm going to try to get to the financials. Guidance, okay, guidance, here we go. So guidance, they're going to get bigger at 174 to 179. That would be 10 to 13% growth, very good. Okay. So their cash position, see their cash position went up 71.6. Okay. So their cash provided by operations trailing 12 months, 121 billion. Oh man, that'll buy you a few hamburgers. And look at their capex. It went from 59.6 billion up to 107.6 billion. So that is $38 billion increase. Okay, so their free cash flow is not very good for the trailing 12 months. It'd be like 17 billion, which is not very good. So the capex spend is really high. That was expected, not a big surprise. I think their growth on their cloud business is lower than I expected. So I'm going to, not maybe on this stream, but later on, I'm going to research it and see what their growth rate has been historically for the last couple quarters. All right, so 13% growth, cash flows are down to CapEx. That's what I'm seeing there. What are you seeing on the charts?
They're down. Looks like they're trading at 227 in the after hours, so down about $7 or so.
Yep. And they had a good day today. They were up 1.68%. So they've given up that 1.68%. And again, that cloud business to me should have been growing faster. And I'm going to try to research that, but you keep going.
Yeah, so if we look at their, I kind of expected them to keep rising. We looked at them yesterday and they're trading above their 20-day, their 50-day, and their 200-day. The 50-day did cross over the 200-day at the beginning of July. You have really strong PPO, really strong RSI, currently sitting at 66. And the accumulation over the past year has been really well. So I was expecting them to kind of continue on this trend. We'll have to dig into the numbers and see what they tell us. This just could be a negative initial reaction.
Well, I think that Microsoft, they put up such a good growth number on cloud.
Right.
That's kind of, sticking in my head, which is, boy, Microsoft's looking really good now.
Yep.
So I'm
They
looking at
drew
the
the line in
Microsoft.
the sand there.
So Microsoft grew their cloud business by 34%.
Okay. So Amazon was half.
Yeah, but Amazon is a bigger business. The Azure business is 75 billion. So that is a big, not as big as Amazon. Okay, so Amazon's business is, let me go ahead and share my screen so you guys could kind of follow me along this. So going back to where they announced that. Sorry about scrolling so much, guys. So increase 17%. So if we annualize this number, we get to 93 billion. So 93 versus 75. They're growing at, and last quarter they grew by 17%. I looked it up. So they
Okay.
did accelerate their growth a tiny bit. But boy, Microsoft's looking pretty good right now. Microsoft grew their cloud business much faster. So looks like the stock is under pressure. They're going to do their earnings call and explain what's going on. Amazon's always been kind of a difficult stock for me to value because they're always growing. They're always putting a lot of capital back into the business. Not necessarily like I don't like utilities because utilities just put so much capital back into their production that it's just rebuilding the power generating equipment. I'm like, but you're not expanding. You're just kind of replacing what you were using last year. Well, Amazon's like, no, we're like, they have a robo taxi business. They have the cloud business. You're putting tons of money there. And it always makes it hard to get a precise value because their cash flow is at times really low. And this quarter it's going to be very low. Before this earnings were announced, I had them trading 3% premium, fairly priced.
Yep.
Now I have to like put my thinking hat on and maybe reduce the on my forecast of cash flow, reduce the initial year, but maybe increase the growth rate because their cloud business is going to get bigger. So I'm going to have to think about this. I can't do it on the live stream. I want to give it some quality thought. But yeah, it's under pressure. Not too bad, but maybe overnight it gets worse. Today's market is kind of a tell for me. I think we were covering this today. The S&P, just looking at the 1 day, right? It came out of the gate nice and green, and then it just sold off throughout the day. Same thing with the NASDAQ, ended in the red. Oh man, this one started more than 1% to the positive, and it ended slightly in the red. Having said, to me, it's the momentum is for a sell-off, and I think that Amazon's going to be under pressure overnight. So, what are your thoughts on Amazon?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised. But let's go back to the daily chart. Yeah, they had been on a really nice run since the April 7th lows. They tested that 20-day only once after the end of April. I see one test here where they got down to the 20-day.
Mm-hmm.
So looks like maybe the market had already priced this in. They had not reached their high back from February the 2nd or so at 242.52. So they were getting very, very close to that.
And
So it might be kind of hard to say given the market today. And I know the market's under. I mean, if we look at the S&P itself, I mean, we crossed over our high at the end of June and just continue to uh, surpass that number. So we're up here in kind of rarefied air.
mm-hmm.
Trading above the 20, the 50, and the 200. We had the crossover here. We were in oversold condition. It has dropped down to 64 on the RSI, still positive here. So I've been thinking for the last week or so that we're kind of due a pullback. I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't know when it would happen. But I'm looking at these price volume bars here. And one of the things that I see that's kind of interesting is here's the largest price by volume
Mm-hmm.
that basically sits in a range between about 59.50 and 6,050 or so
Mm-hmm.
is where if we do pull back, I think that's going to be our support
Mm-hmm.
area. I don't think we'll pull back much below that, but I've kind of been expecting that we do have a pullback. I just didn't know when it would happen.
Okay. And Amazon is underperforming the S&P. It's underperforming the best performing mega caps. It's not keeping up with Nvidia, not even close.
Yeah.
It's not keeping up with Meta, not even close. It was beating Google, and it's beating Apple. Everybody's beating Apple this year. So it's now down 3%. So Amazon is under pressure. I agree with you that the market could be seeing a pullback. It could be seeing a sell-off. The earnings in general of the overall revenue growth was good. Okay, 13% revenue growth is very good. In the previous quarter, they grew up by 8.62%. So growing 13% is like really good. Okay, I'll give them that much. But the cloud business, that's sticking in my mind, which is, Microsoft just reported mid 30% growth. They're killing it. And then you came in with 17.5.
Right.
That's just not floating my boat.
Yeah, they're
So,
down to 225 now, 224.63.
wow, down 4% now. Okay. All right. So that is Amazon. Let's see. Is Apple, I think, was going to announce at 30 past the hour, correct?
That's right. Reddit should have reported by
You want to
now.
take a look at that? Oh,
Mhm.
yes. Reddit's up 11.7. Let's go over to Reddit. All right. So Reddit's up almost 12%. What happened, guys? The Redditor Nation is making it happen. And they grew like 62% previously. They don't have a big number, but let's see what their growth was. All right. So you guys can see my screen. So daily active uniques increased by 21%. Revenue grew 78%. Applause. Nicely done. Nicely done, Reddit. Margin expanded 90%. Oh man, that's gross margin. So they sell $100, they get to keep 90. Net income, good. Cash flow, 111 million. And they did issue out some new shares. Okay. All right, guys, you guys killed it. Nice job. Nice job, Reddit. You know, I bought a nice position, compared to Meta, a small position to Reddit, and I bought it on the dip. And my spidey senses continued to tell me, keep buying it, keep buying it. And I didn't. I was like, it came down to really good levels after it was just on a tear at 224. Started buying here. I pretty much stopped buying around here. And I didn't listen to my spidey senses. Oh well, I got like $16,000 of Reddit, and I get to participate in this in some proportion. When I value Reddit, it's going to go up. The valuation is going to go up because those numbers are fantastic. I had the stock trading at a 7% premium, but I have to increase the growth rates because they accelerated their growth. So nicely done, Reddit. They're probably going to be priced, I don't know, 10, 20% discount. And I'll have to wait for the stock to relax a bit before I start rebuying, but we'll see. I'll do my full analysis later and release a video on them. But it looks like Reddit is just killing it. Nice job, Reddit. And just looking at, not the last month, the stock's up just 6.65%. It did have, what's interesting is it rallied all day and then it goes up. So just in today's intraday and then after hours, the stock's up 19%. Nicely done.
That is very nice.
All right, so let me give you the floor. Show us the technical, sir.
Yep. So they're looking pretty good. They reached their high. It looks like beginning of February as well. And most of the tech stocks and a lot of other stocks started decreasing in March, and they nearly all hit their low on about April the 7th to the 9th. Then they've been on a pretty good increase. They increased from 79, 75 in the looks like they're trading about 161 right now. They are, let's see, it's a little hard to see that they are trading above their 20-day moving average, which sits at 147. They're above their 200. Their 50-day is still below the 200. So if they keep on this run, that's going to be a crossover here pretty soon, with probably within the next 2 or 3 days, trading days.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens, then that's a kind of confirms an uptrend, which would be really good news for them. They do have positive PPO. They've had positive RSI since the beginning of June. They did get into an overbought condition at the beginning of July, then came out of that, and now they're starting to move back up to that 70 range, which would be overbought. They had a lot of accumulation up until March. Had a little bit of a sell-off, and then it looks like it may have surpassed that level. But since the end of April, there's actually been a little bit of distribution, I would say.
Looks great. Looks great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go Reddit. So we have 665, 666 attendees on the stream. Thanks, everybody. And we've got some comments here that I'll kind of try to fly through. Cream Biggins, good to see you. Mike, great to see you. And again, Cream Figgins, Bot Fig, congratulations. Randy, thanks for joining. We just went over Reddit, and those are some comments out there. Coin is dumping. It's down 7%. So if you wouldn't mind, can we take a look at Coinbase, see what's going on? Now, Coinbase, I guess I've owned Coinbase long enough to not overreact. I've seen some pretty horrible days after earnings on Coinbase, but overall I've made a lot of money on them. So let's see if it's an opportunity or if it's really a big problem. So they are down 7.74%, and Coinbase typically puts out a really nice investor letter, by the way. Some companies, it's like they give you the minimum information, and some companies give you a lot of information. And let's see here. We'll go with the press release. No, should have picked the other one. It took a little while. Okay, so solid financial results, generating 1.5 billion in revenue. Okay, let me see. Here we go. This infographic I think is gonna probably get me what I need. Let me make this bigger. So revenue 1.5 billion, net income 1.4 billion. That's how profitable these guys are. You notice that?
That's insane.
Almost all the revenue is profit.
Yeah. Wow.
Subscription revenue is up. Good. Okay. And they've been working on this regulatory clarity. Hopefully that goes well. All right, so that's fine. I want to look at a schedule. Okay, here we go. So net revenue, we are down to 142. So the net income did go up, but this I think is what the market's not like. I don't like that either. So what happened? Why did the revenue go down? They're going to have to explain that. They do have subscription revenue. They have this subscription. Robinhood has the same thing, and it's they give you additional benefits and better pricing on trades and so forth. If you're a Coinbase, I forgot what they call their. I think it's called Coinbase Plus or Platinum or something. Robinhood calls theirs gold. They're trying to grow that. So why did their revenue go down? So in the quarter, Bitcoin was trading up. Ethereum was really trading up. The pricing was going up. So here is the volumes. So volume was good on Bitcoin. Ethereum was good. XRP is 0. USDT 0. So interesting. Okay. So this again, they report everything on their business. I'm going to read this thing at full length and then do a video on it. But it looks like the revenue drop is what is causing the stock price to drop. That's understandable. That's concerning to me. I'm going to read the report in detail and see what it's all about. I'm going to listen to the earnings call, see what that's about, and try to get a sense of, is that a one-time setback? Next earnings will be really important. Boy, their investor letter's long. Here we go. So that looks okay. Balance sheet. We kind of went over this. See the 6 months. So the lack of growth. Okay. Cash flows went off a cliff. So I'll have to figure that out. And there's this big number here. So there's a lot of numbers explaining on Coinbase. It's going to take is pretty good homework assignment for me. I understand the market selling off. That's understandable because there are some ugly numbers in their financials. What are you seeing on the charts?
I hate talking about these after the fact. Normally, I review all these kind of charts before, and I make videos on them before they report, but Coin is not one that I follow. But one of the things that I see that was a little concerning, when you hit this peak here at 444, like we spoke about in a couple of other videos, we had a negative divergence. So we were increasing in price and we had a negative divergence, which means it was losing momentum. I also see that on the RSI as well. And then on the 21st, so nearly 10 days ago, we had a crossover with the momentum, and the divergence there has been getting wider and wider. And the RSI almost came down to the midpoint. We can also see get rid of those lines. We can also see the accumulation or decumulation distribution started about 10 days ago as well. So once again, when you're looking at it in a rear view mirror, it's a little easier. But had I reviewed this before, and I really like to do that before, so I don't know what the future is. But this would have been pretty obvious things I would have looked at.
Hmm.
I mean, it's trading well. I mean, it's trading above its 20-day up until just the last 2 or 3 days, trading above the 50-day, 200-day. We had the 50-day crossover, confirming we were in an uptrend. But these last few days, the last 10 days or so, I would say there was starting to be some warning signs on the charts.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. So next one is going to be Apple. And as we head into Apple, while we're waiting, let's kind of look at the scoreboard just briefly and summarize. Okay. Amazon earnings were disappointing, right? And that stock's down. Then we went over to Reddit. Those were fantastic. That stock's up. Coinbase earnings were disappointing. Stock's down. So we got two downs, one up. Right, Apple. We're either going to be on a winning streak or a losing streak with you.
They did report. I haven't seen the alert on Seeking Alpha yet. Okay, there it is.
Are you seeing the?
I do see it. They beat on the top and bottom. Beat by 14 cents on EPS. The revenue was 94.04 billion, beating by 4.88 billion.
All right, let me let you share your screen because I'm not seeing that, and then take us through that, please.
Okay.
So what's their revenue growth percentage?
Let's see. Okay, that's just category. Let me go into their press release. Do you
So I've
see
got
a
my
total?
hands.
Oh, total net sales. There we are. Compared to last year was 85 billion. They're 94 billion this time.
It's pretty good. That's about
Yeah.
10% growth.
Yep.
That's good. And then their margins
They did
expanded
increase their
10%.
margins.
Yeah. Earnings per share were
Operating
good.
income is higher.
iPhone sales were up about 10%. Wow, that's a big, big win. Services were up about 11, 12%. It's looking like a good earnings to me.
Yeah. I think they're up in the after hours as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take a quick peek. Yep. They're up to 210.80.
Nice job. Nice job, Apple. Yeah, the financials are looking good to me.
Yep.
And then the cash flow come down for the 9 months because they're going to give us the 9 months. That's where they're at in the year. It came down about 10 billion year to date, and looks like there's either a charge or something on other current or non-current liabilities. There was kind of an adjustment there that took them down like 10 billion. And CapEx, that's where they kind of get criticized, is it went up 3 billion from 6.5 billion to 9.5 billion. You look at Amazon's spending 100 billion in CapEx. Apple's spending 9.5 billion. Like, yeah, we don't need to innovate anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, interesting. So Apple getting it done. That's a positive report.
Yep. Looks good, actually.
And they were really oversold, right?
Let me take a look. No, I wouldn't say they were oversold. They were below the 50 line,
Mm-hmm.
but 30 below 30 would be considered oversold.
Mm-hmm.
Like right here, you can see they were below 30. You'd like to see them kind of hold the 40 line and turn back around. It usually indicates a pretty good short-term buying period. They were trading below their 20-day. They're trading below their 200-day. So that's not terribly good. Now they're nowhere near crossing over to confirm any kind of an uptrend at all. They 50-day crossed below the 200 on April the 7th, and it hasn't gotten anywhere close to recovering that.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of distribution here over the last 2 or 3 weeks. They're still positive in the PPO. So they weren't oversold, but they weren't really performing all that well either. I mean, it's basically flat.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the second quarter, I mean, a 10% growth on iPhone is very good. I must say that's really good growth. And the growth on services, because those are the two biggest lines of their income statement. That's a very good report from Apple.
Yep.
Very good. So just going back to what I was just talking about. So their revenue expanded pretty much about a little over 10%, excuse me. So they expanded about 9. Yep. So about 10, 11%. Looks very good. Year to date, growing by about 7% year to date. Gross margin expanded, very good. As they look at the sales around the world, Americas went up, 11, 12%. Europe bought iPhones quite a bit. They expanded by about 14%. Greater China, somewhat flat, didn't grow very much. Japan grew nicely, maybe about 10%, 11%. Rest of Asia Pacific, man, these guys are nicely scattered around the world. iPhone went up about 11, 12%, and then services went up about 11, 12%. So a very good report. They got plenty of cash. They got cash in the cash account, marketable securities, and then they have these marketable securities long term. So you add up, geez, they got like about $130 billion of cash just sitting there, or marketable securities as well. This is where you saw a drop in cash flow. I don't think that's a big problem. I think the revenue increase is, man, they needed that. If we were going to go through another quarter of revenue not growing, I think the CEO would have been under a lot of pressure. How are you going to grow the business? But for now, the stock is up about 2%. That's good. Year to date, this stock is down 17%. So they got some catching up to do. And if you really compare like Apple, let's say NVIDIA is doing great. NVIDIA's up like 35%. Apple's lagging NVIDIA by 42%. They're lagging Microsoft by like 35, 40%. So they're way behind their peers. I think and Apple's going to constantly deal with the criticism of what's next. What is going to grow your business? If you keep depending on that iPhone, one of these years, the iPhone is not going to grow, and you're going to be under a lot of pressure from competition, and it's going to be an ugly ending. All right, so that is Apple. So the scoreboard, Apple had good earnings, Amazon had bad earnings, Reddit had good earnings, and Coinbase had bad earnings. So we're betting 500.
Yep, there you go.
50-50. But I'm an optimist, so the glass is half full.
Now you can win at 50%. So
if you pick the right stocks.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So I wanted to review one more stock. It's going to be kind of a surprise to you. So, and the stock is Fiverr, and that's for one of the members of the channel. He wanted me to look at Fiverr. Put the wrong ticker. Okay. And Fiverr is it's an online marketplace worldwide. The company's platform enables sellers to sell their services and buyers to buy them. Its platform offers digital services including logo design, blog posting, writing, video creation, website development, social media marketing services. The company also operates value-add services comprising of Fiverr ads. Okay. So they announced yesterday, and they were up a tiny bit. I don't think they caught a huge rally. And now they're under a little bit of pressure. So this is a small cap, 814 million. Revenue is 420. So you're buying the business for a 2x sales, which is very low. PE is 44. We'll see how they're growing. Forward PE is 8.46. That's a very low number. Let's look at their growth. Their growth is decent. They're a small company and growing, teens. Actually, 12 isn't a teen, so hopefully they'll be a teen at some point. But that's decent, but not like awesome growth, which is their valuation is such. 14.77 looks pretty good. They got to keep at it, keep growing. So they have terrific margins. So their margins are 80.94. That's terrific. The cash flow, that looks good. So this business is discounted, assuming the balance sheet's not a mess. Let's take a look at the balance sheet. So they have 724 million of cash and 464 of debt. So they have excess cash of 284 million. This business is discounted. They're driving cash flow of like 94 million. They have excess cash. So they're probably discounted, I don't know, 30 to 50%. But they're really small. Year to date, they're down. For the 1 year, they're flat. Wow, look at that sell-off. I guess they were really hot during COVID. A lot of people are probably thinking, yeah, let's go to Fiverr and hire somebody. I'm not really familiar with these guys. It seems like a platform that should work. That's where you would find people to do projects for you, build a website, do this, do that. So this company is interesting enough for me to research it further, but for now, I would say it looks like a discounted stock. It definitely is discounted, but it's a small cap, so it's going to be hard for this stock to get attention. And it's in Israel. Not that there's anything wrong with Israel. It's just outside the U.S., so it's not going to get a lot of attention. The RSI is 17.8. Holy smokes, that's low RSI. Can you look at the charts on Fiverr?
Yep, I got it pulled up. So this is one that I don't follow. I'm familiar with the company, but this is not one that I follow. Chart looks pretty painful, to tell you the truth. I see at least 4 times over the last year where it's traded at this price. So it does find a little bit of support around this price. But it's down almost to the same price it was with the tariff announcements. So the PPO is negative and getting worse. RSI is negative and looks like it's getting worse. And it's under a lot of distribution. This is not a good looking chart to me at all.
Man. You know what I heard?
This could be a company that's gets threatened by AI.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. You could definitely say that. They do programming, tech, graphics design, digital marketing, writing, video and animation, AI services, music, business, and consulting. Okay.
About 90% of that can be done with some level of AI now.
Yeah, that's probably the kind of the sentiment that's holding back this stock. I think
could very well be. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So this one here is an interesting discounted little company, but I don't know if they're going to catch any breaks. You know what they may want to do is go public in the US market, maybe get a little more attention. But first and foremost, is AI going to replace them, right? If AI is going to replace them, then that's a whole different, more difficult problem.
Yeah, I know some people that I've listened to, they don't hire out anything, almost anything anymore. It's all done. They've moved over, transitioned to AI. So they do not contract hardly any work out anymore.
Interesting. All right, so here's the earnings for today. We went over Apple, good earnings, Amazon, bad earnings. MasterCard was early this morning. I think they were up. I think MasterCard was trading higher. I haven't looked at this stock. Yeah, it went up a little bit, and it looks like their revenue, that's the trailing 12 months, the revenue expanded. Looks really good. That's good growth. And MasterCard, along with Visa, they charge people to use their network, and it's a very, very lucrative business, very sticky. AbbVie announced before market open, this is a pharma company, Shell, S&P, Stryker Healthcare, a lot of companies. Seeing if anything, we went over Coinbase, they had bad earnings. CVS had good earnings. They rallied early in the day and then faded. So Cloudflare was out. So those are the names that released it today. Looking at tomorrow, oil companies before the market opens. So Exxon, Chevron. I'm not expecting any fireworks there. Oil hasn't been overly high, the oil price. So they're probably going to come in with decent earnings, good profits, but nothing exciting. And several companies in the oil complex like Enbridge will be reporting. But those are the big names that I see. Chevron, Exxon, a couple oil companies. That is it. Then we can take the weekend off.
LyondellBasell, I think, reports tomorrow. Did you see them on there?
What company was that?
LYB, LyondellBasell. LYB. They're a materials company.
Mm-hmm.
Check my earnings spreadsheet. I thought I had them down for tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't see them. All right.
They are
So,
reporting tomorrow.
okay, they weren't listed. Okay. um, well, tomorrow, I guess my guess is, man, do you think we're going to trade higher or lower tomorrow?
Well, it seems like we always start the day off positive. I mean, I was up big this morning. Then around 1 o'clock, everything fell apart. Ended up in the red on all three of my portfolios.
So the pre-market as we stand is expected to open lower. Now that would have been my guess because we had such a fade during intraday today that it can kind of carry into the next day.
Yeah.
Amazon's going to be down tomorrow. Okay, that's going to be a problem. Apple did decent, very good. Good job, Apple. So looks like Reddit is up 20%. Wow. Where was Reddit? It's up 15% here. Well, 16, 15. That's going to be great. Good job, Reddit. Excellent. Well, that was interesting. We got 751 people watching the stream. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
We went through the biggest earnings. Hopefully you found it interesting. Would love to see your comments. And please support Daryl's channel. He has a channel where he does a lot of analysis, really good stuff. And you can find his information in the description of the live stream. And really appreciate you joining. So, Daryl, thanks so much for everything.
Yep. Thank you, Victor. I appreciate the opportunity.
Glad to have you. Everybody, have a good night. Good luck with your investments.
Yep.